Hello and welcome to Froch on Fighting with me, Carl the Cobra Froch, MBE, former unified super middleweight world boxing champion and International Boxing Hall of Famer. I know you already know. I know you're sick of me saying it, but it's going to keep coming. And today I am joined by my old pal, my old colleague and friend, Jamie Moore, the master of Jack Catterall, who we spoke to earlier this week. How you getting on, Jamie?
I'm all good, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I just mentioned Jack Catterall there.
Some resume, that, mate.
Hey, you know how I roll, mate. You know how the big guns roll. Get on my level. You know how it is. Anyway, what do you make of Jack Catterall's performance against Regis Prograis on Saturday night?
I thought he was superb. I'd said it a couple of times in different interviews during the week. I said this is going to be one of those type of fights with the styles where it won't really catch fire for 2 or 3 rounds, and when one or the other sort of lands a good shot or starts to establish itself, that's when it'll catch fire, and it did. Jack landed a decent left in the third. In the fourth round, he got caught himself off Regis. You could actually hear, there's that sort of different type of noise when it lands. And I actually turned to Nigel in the corner and I said, "You can tell he can fucking punch this kid."
Prograis,
and then
he's a bit of a banger, isn't
a Prograis, yeah, exactly that, yeah. So. And those early rounds, there was really close. There was not much action going on, so we wasn't really sure how there was going to be scored. So coming into the seventh, I was saying to Jack, "Listen, you could be a couple down here. You need to get your ass in gear, get his respect,
Yeah.
Start taking your opportunities more." And he did as the fight rolled out, going into those championship rounds, getting into like 8, 9, 10. He was he pulled away and he ended up a really good performance.
Yeah, he closed the show, that's for sure. Was you worried about the knockdown when he got caught? For me, it was a bit of a balance thing, but it was a stiff jab on it, but it was off balance. It was looking for
it was a stiff jab and he was throwing at the same time himself. He didn't look buzzed or hurt, so I knew it was sort of an off balance thing. But it's a 2-pointer, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know you're 2 points down the early doors there.
So after that,
and I didn't want him to start chasing the fight. Yeah, exactly. I didn't want it to affect the way he was performing at that stage.
Yeah.
But by the time we got to the end of the seventh, I was saying, right, you need to sort of get moving. I'll get going.
Yeah, he raised his game, didn't he? To change the mindset and change the rhythm and the pattern or the pace or whatever you want to call it of the fight. You've got to be good to do that, haven't you? And he stepped it up, didn't he?
I've had that conversation today in the gym. I said, and I said it to him afterwards as well. I said, he takes a hell of a fighter at that level to be able to recognise that they're falling behind and be able to do something about it and change and adapt.
Yeah.
And he responded really, really well.
Yeah, he's a top fighter, mate. You've got a good one there. He really is a top fighter. And we know what happened with Josh Taylor, and he was uncrowned one, he undisputed, which is terrible. It's a tragedy, really. Got him in the rematch, but no belts at stake. So he needs to be crowned, doesn't he? He needs his crowning moment of world champion because he's got the ability.
He does. He deserves it as well. And
absolutely.
I'm hoping, Lopez, I think everyone regards would put him at the top of the list in terms of the number one in the division.
What about Haney?
I mean, Haney, there's an argument to say he got beat, but he's been changed to a no contest.
Yeah.
So Haney's right up there, but I would put Lopez there.
Yeah.
And I would like that fight for Jack. I think Lopez is probably stylistically more suited with Jack.
Yeah.
I don't think the Haney fight's a great fight for Jack. No. I'm not saying he can't win it. I just think it's just a nightmare for the fans. I don't think it would catch fire. It'd be quite a tepid fight. So I don't think it would blend really well, that fight.
Haney wouldn't want to commit, would he? He'd be using his speed at range. Are you talking about the Ryan Garcia fight then? Has that one been over? Is that official? Has that been ruled a no contest?
I think it's been changed to a no contest, hasn't it?
Really? It's a bit ridiculous, that, isn't it? I know he failed a drugs test and that, but the fight was in the fight, but he was getting done, wasn't he? He was just getting done.
Yeah. He got well and truly beat, and Haney's a good fighter. There's no doubt about it, but Garcia, I think everyone was sleeping on Garcia in that fight, and he shocked everyone.
Yeah, he did.
It's just a shame what happened afterwards. But
Devastating.
for me, Teofimo Lopez is the number one in the division at the moment, and I'd love nothing more than Jack to get the opportunity to fight him and beat him.
Yeah, it'd be a great fight, Teofimo Lopez. It's no gimme, is it? It's a tough fight for him, but because Lopez blows hot and cold sometimes. Sometimes I question his motivation as well. When he speaks after the fights, when he beat Taylor, he was talking about retirement and he's not getting paid enough. And sometimes with boxers and he don't get going, he's just like standing off, and you're thinking, well, where's the Lopez that beat Lomachenko? Where's this guy?
Sometimes he looks amazing. So he blows hot and cold, and I think he's very temperamental.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, Jack's probably got the type of style what would cause him problems.
Yeah.
So I'd love that fight for him.
Yeah, we talked about the emotions of Lopez, and I think emotionally, if Jack Catterall keeps out his way and peppers him with a jab at range, he'll start getting desperate and start reaching and start trying to come for it. And then Catterall can walk him onto that counter left cross. But anyway, enough about Catterall. We've done a good episode of him last week. If you've not seen it here on Froch on Fighting, the best channel in the business, go and have a look back at Jack Catterall. This is a guy we want to get behind because he's going to be crowned world champion in 2025. I am sure of it. We've got Jamie Moore on, so let's pick Jamie Moore's brains about the current state of boxing. Who did we have the other day? We had the Hitman, Alexander Usyk, come dressed as the Hitman. He looked the absolute bollocks, didn't he? I said that last time I talked about him. He looked really, real fitting character for a man that wipes everybody out. And he was at the press conference with Tyson Fury. How do you see the rematch going, mate?
I've got to be honest. I think we spoke before about this. I expected Tyson in the first fight to impose himself a little bit more in terms of using his size. I thought he would try and work his body more because we've seen vulnerabilities with Usyk downstairs. And you know, in all honesty, it was a nip and tuck fight up until that 9th round, and that sort of swung it in Usyk's favour.
Bad round for him.
It was very, you know, it was a really bad round, and he did well to get through it. I think there was a couple of referees what might have even jumped in at some point, but setting it up for the rematch now, it really is one of them where it could go either way. I've got a feeling if Fury goes in there and doesn't adjust that much, then Usyk's going to pick up where he left off last time and just run away with it.
Yeah.
But Fury's got it in him. Still got enough left in the tank to change it up, to come into the fight with a different game plan. And I still believe the size of him, he punches, he's got enough authority in his shots. And he's actually, for somebody who's so tall, he can punch well to the body. He can definitely turn it in his favour as long as he doesn't try and go down the same patterns as he did in the first fight.
Yeah, it was a close fight, that first one. Regardless of, I mean, look at the scorecards, it was close. But away from the scorecards, it was a bad fucking whooping, wasn't it, in round 9? I mean, if that fight would have got stopped in round 9, I think it was held up by the ropes, and then Usyk was lining his chin up, and the ref jumped in to stop it because the ropes kept him up. If that was me, I'd have kept punching. I don't stop punching. Even when the ref jumping in, I'm like, until the ref grabs me out of the way, I'm not going to stop punching. And Usyk, such a magnanimous man, and he's such an honest, fair man. He sort of stopped. He looked at the ref and stopped.
He is, and you know, he's such a character as well, and he's going to be one of them fighters what's missed when they're gone.
Absolutely.
He really is. He's a big character on the scene. Such a good fighter, very underrated. You know, I didn't really. In fact, talk about Jack Catterall. He's got a lot of similarities in the sense of some of the stuff he does, the subtle stuff he does, goes under the radar to a lot of people until you sort of sit down and really study it. That's what makes him so good. He's not so much, you know, he's not big, extravagant stuff. He's very grounded. He hasn't got a lot of lateral movement, but he controls the tempo of a fight so well.
Yeah, he does.
And I think he surprised Fury. I thought Fury thought he would be able to control the pace and dominate it more than he did. Usyk walked him down. You know, for somebody that size, for him to be able to walk Tyson Fury down or be allowed to be walked down, to be honest. And that's what I mean. I feel like Fury has got to impose himself more in this fight. He's got to gain his respect a little bit more early on.
He's got to go for it, yeah, definitely. Usyk's footwork and the way he measures his distance and the way he gets himself in range, and his head movement's good, and he seems to have a little bit of an amateur style, doesn't he? He bounces around on his feet, he keeps throwing feints, keeps moving one way, then the other, keeps you guessing, keeps you thinking, gets you off balance, goes off to the side, never moves in straight lines, goes in little semicircles, and then just pummels you with 5 or 6 shots when he's in range. And
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
think for
The timing
Tyson,
of that left hand down the middle is
yeah,
amazing.
I mean, he gets his body weight and his front foot in, and then his left cross is like, even though he's shorter and he's got less reach, he's just in range, isn't he? Before the opponent even
He is.
realises
He's
he's in range.
his timing is beautiful.
Yeah,
Really, really good.
you wouldn't want to fight him, would you? Fuck that. Good fighter,
Absolutely not.
proper top fighter. But what do you think? What do you think Tyson Fury did wrong in that first one? I mean, I know we've touched on it, but do you think? For me, I don't think he was fit enough to do what he needed to do and sustain it. Round 4, 5, and 6, and 7, and whatever, he was having good success. He landed a nice uppercut, which hurt Usyk. But I think he's
Yeah,
got to be super fit to be able to maintain that. And my opinion is Tyson's past his best. He's over that hill, even though he's a couple of years younger than Usyk. He's not. I feel like there's more miles on the clock. So I think my question is, what is he going to do different? I know he's on about going towards him and leaning on him and put the weight on him and throw more shots.
yeah.
But I don't know if he's physically
I
fit
think
enough.
with a fighter like Usyk, who's so technically good, I speak about this a lot with my fighters. And it's about being honest with yourself and your skill set and your own attributes.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be able to compete or win a fight by outbox, you wouldn't want to go and try and outbox Usyk
No.
because
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
I always say you simplify it, you try and drag them down to your level, and someone like Usyk's only going to be able to do what he can do if he's got plenty of gas in his tank.
Yeah.
And just the simple fact of Fury using his size
Yeah.
to cause a bit of fatigue and
Yeah.
drain some energy out of him early on,
Yeah.
and drag him into a dogfight, because Usyk doesn't want to be in a dogfight.
No.
He wants to be able to walk you down, keep you on the end of the shots, keep using those little triggers, feints, walk you down, and very technical. Sort of take that play away from him. Don't let him be technical. Drag him into a bit of a dogfight and make it your type of fight. I think he'd be really uncomfortable then.
Yeah, he fought the wrong fight in the first fight for sure, didn't he? I mean, I spoke to Jack Catterall earlier in the week, which I mentioned. I asked him who his favourite fighter was, and he said Sugar Ray Leonard. And I said that's the opposite probably to my favourite fighter, which is someone like Duran. Even though I love Roy Jones Jr. and he's like class to watch and so good because he was, for me, he was like almost unbeatable, Roy Jones Jr. in his prime. But if you look at Duran and Leonard when they fought in that first fight, Leonard fought the wrong fight. Duran dragged him into his fucking dogfight, didn't he? Made him have a war with him.
Exactly. So perfect example.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example of what I mean.
He just fighting the Cobra knows his stuff, mate.
Yeah, he just absolutely manhandled him. And then in the rematch, you seen what happened. Sugar Ray didn't get dragged into that fight, into that type of fight, and then he ran away with it. But me and you were sort of stylistically cut from the same cloth. I didn't do it at the same level as you, but we just sort of went in there and had it with people. And I've said this many times. I beat fighters who was technically much better than me.
Yeah.
By dragging him into a dogfight, and that's what I mean about Tyson Fury. I'm not saying he hasn't got a good skill set. Of course he has. He's been a phenomenal fighter, but Usyk's like elite level skill set, and you don't want to try and match him for that. You want to drag it away
him into it, change the tactics. We talked about your fight with Macklin the other day. I had Macklin on. We were talking about that fucking when you hit him with that shot. I mean, talk about dogfights. He tried to drag you into a dogfight, didn't he? But he was messing with the wrong Marine, wasn't he? He was in your game there. He just took didn't behind that guard, let him have his moments, and you fired back at times. Yeah. But then you took him into the what round was it when you nailed him? It was late.
10th round, yeah.
10th, yeah.
Just it was like old bull, young bull. Kerry Case talks about. He always talks about old bull, young bull tactics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he says all you did was you old manned him a little bit, dragged him into the later rounds, let him gas himself, and then just sort of took him apart. Yeah. And it wasn't physically easy. It was a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
But you've got to walk through fire sometimes.
Absolutely, you've got to take it to them, man. You've got to sit back. You've got to know when to sit back and let them have their moments, and then you've got to know when to press it home. I mean, that was a close fight all the way through. No one really dominated that. It was a close one. I know he was working away, but he was.
No, you're right. I could sense it myself. Up until the finish, it could have gone either way, and I think the judges had me a round or something up.
Yeah.
Going into it, one had it even, but it was one of those fights where
it was a great fight. It's nobody's
18 years ago as well.
Was it 18? Was it?
A lifetime away.
Yeah, but you know what? I've been retired 10 years, so yeah, that makes sense. Another 8 years on top of that. Fucking hell, mate. Where's 2 decades gone?
Scary.
Fucking crazy, man, isn't it? It goes quick. What was I going to say to you next? I was going to ask you about Daniel Dubois. and Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
Right, this fight might not be happening anymore, the rematch. I did say I think it
Yeah.
was a bad fight for AJ to take an immediate rematch because he got so badly fucking wiped out in that first fight. He got pummeled, didn't he? Let's be honest. He got caught in round 1, and then he got. I know he was. Eddie Hill's his trainer, his promoter, Eddie Hearn. You know what I'm talking about. The 6-0 Iceman from Billericay, 4 by way of. He was saying that Daniel Dubois was in trouble in round 5. I don't think he was in trouble. He got caught by a shot. He went on his back foot, lost
Yeah.
balance a bit, but he still had the poise and the mindset and the composure to time AJ as he threw that silly uppercut from out of range, and he knocked him out in round 5. For me, that was a bad loss for AJ, a bad knockout and a beating. It was a bad beating. The immediate rematch for me, I don't think was a good idea. It looks like they've took the Cobra's advice. But do you want to see the fight again? And if the fight does happen again, which it looks like it isn't, who do you think wins?
I think you're right. I don't think he should have gone straight into an immediate rematch. I think AJ's still got enough left in to beat someone like Dubois, but I just don't know whether the rebuilding process is going to take maybe a little bit too long, because he did get back to. I think I've spoken about this a few times in the past about him just having confidence in his own ability. He went away and he worked on his all round skill set, and he went and got he trained with different coaches and learned different things over the couple of years where he'd lost those fights, and he tried to make himself a better fighter as a whole package, and he did. He come back, but he was very hesitant. He wasn't letting his hands go the way he had done sort of when he came through on the scene, and he was just like a wrecking machine.
Yeah.
And then he got some of that back, and I just whether the timing of it, where he just maybe got a little bit too overconfident, or maybe it was bad timing in terms of how much improvement Daniel Dubois made. Because let's be honest, when Dubois got beat off Joe Joyce, everyone was going, is he the hype job? He's not really had the lessons along the way, and then his first fight he's gone in with Joe Joyce is an handful for anyone.
Yeah.
And he was at that point in time anyway. He's probably the most improved British fighter over the last couple of years, Daniel Dubois. He's took on the lessons on board. Yeah. He had that loss to Usyk, and there was that bit of controversy, but he had a phenomenal couple of wins. And now going, AJ just didn't quite look himself going in there, and maybe that. And I'm not saying that's not because of Daniel Dubois. It might be because Daniel's improved that much, and he's probably come under the radar, and all of a sudden he's right up there now. And if Fury wasn't rematching Usyk, you'd be looking at Daniel Dubois and Fury, and you'd be going, Dubois got a chance here against Fury. He really has.
Yeah.
He's well improved, and he's probably going to keep getting better as well.
Yeah. I mean, I disagree slightly with the AJ take, just because after losing to Ruiz and then the back-to-back defeats with Usyk, I just think the Franklin and the is it Otto Wallin, Helenius, and then the Ngannou, them wins really, they flattered him, and there was nobody came into the ring with any ambition trying to put it on him or he was never tested, AJ, in my opinion. He's a level above them lads that are coming in with no ambition and haven't really got the heart, and they're all, do you know what I mean? There's a couple of old men chucked in there as well.
His recent wins where he's looked explosive, I agree. There was not much coming back, and it's easy to look good against opponents like that when you've got AJ's attributes. He's such a big, powerful, strong man.
Yeah.
When there's not a lot coming back, you can look explosive.
You can look great.
I just don't see. If I was AJ now, I'll be honest, Carl. I would just go, do you know what? I've had a phenomenal career. I've earned a hell of a lot of money.
Turn it in.
What's the point? Yeah. Just go and walk off into the sunset, enjoy your moment. He's got a load of world title belts at home, and just enjoy the rest of your life now.
Well, he's got Eddie Hills, hasn't he, blowing down his ear hole, trying to. For me, I think Eddie Hearn, his promoter, was trying to cash him out and trying to say to him, look, not say to him, but in his head, he's thinking, right, what's the last 2 big fights? So he's probably thinking Daniel Dubois is going to flatten him in the rematch, potentially. So maybe get the Fury fight, regardless of what happens with Fury Usyk. It's still a big fight, isn't it, AJ Fury? Still a fight that people are going to want to see.
It's a crying shame it's never happened already.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late, but
it's still a big fight. It is. Maybe a lot of people will go, listen, it's better late than never.
Yeah.
Bit like Mayweather and Pacquiao. Yeah. That's that type of thing where it was still a good fight, good event. I would like to see it, even though it's way past its sell by date.
Yeah.
But I'd much rather AJ walk away and just go, do you know what? I've had a great career. I'll leave it there.
Do you think he could retire though? Because if he retires now, you say he's had a great career, and I'm not just ripping the arse out of it at all, because he has had a good career. You can look at what he's done, but you've got the resume, and you've got an old Klitschko. I mean, Charles Martin, fucking hell, do me a favour. Then you've got an old Klitschko, and then he beat everyone who was put in front of him. But there's a lot of old men in there, and then as soon as he was asked to step up, he never fought Tyson Fury. He fought Usyk and got outclassed twice, really. And then he's come back and he's been done by a young gun, 26 years old, Daniel Dubois. He got fucking hammered. If he retires now, what's his legacy? That's the problem. And I think he knows in his head.
For the start, he's fought everybody in and around the division, barring Fury.
And Deontay Wilder. He didn't fight Deontay Wilder.
He did fight Deontay Wilder.
Wilder and Fury are two big names. And then he's fought Usyk and he's been demolished after he got beat by Lewis.
The Vecchio and the Fury are probably his two best wins, I'd say.
Old men.
Yeah, and obviously Klitschko's was a good win. He's a good fight, but everyone always looks at I know Klitschko was way past his best, but for him to get up, that was a hell of a shot what Klitschko dropped him with.
Yeah,
people talk about AJ being chinny and stuff like that. If you're chinny, you don't get up from that. So I'm not saying he's not got. You're well known for having a rock solid chin. He hasn't got that type of sturdiness. I never had a chin like you. I was up and down like a fucking yo-yo.
I know what you're saying. I know exactly where you're going with this, but I think AJ's punch resistance now not what it was. He used to be able to climb up and carry on. Dillian White clipped him with a hook and hurt him. Carlos Takam dropped a nut on him and hit him with some shots. But to get wobbled in round one like he did against Dubois, I know Dubois is a monster puncher, but even early doors in his career, like I talk about
also Carl as well.
Go on.
It's not just about punch resistance. It's about desire. Like, why does he want to drag himself through hard fights? Like, again, after doing what he's done, achieving what he's done, the amount of money's in there. I know people don't say it's not about money, but the old Marvin Hagler saying, it's hard to get out of bed, with silk pajamas on.
Mate, I totally agree. True. When you've made the money he's made, why do you want to be getting your head punched in? It can go wrong, horribly wrong for you. We've seen it ourselves in people's career. I mean, my colleague Spencer Oliver, he was collapsed in the ring. He had a brain hemorrhage. He had an operation.
And the other thing is, like, what else does he want to achieve? If you'd have put it on a plate to him in 2012 when he was turning pro from the Olympics, and you went, right, you're going to be a two-time heavyweight champion of the world, you're going to earn absolute boatload of money, and you'll be known all over the world. He'll go, I'll take that every day of the week. Yeah. So I think people need to put things into perspective sometimes and just get out while you can.
But he's had a lot of hype. He's had the smoke blown up his arse for years. He's got Hills, his promoter now, I think, trying to cash him out and get the last bit of better money out of him before he finishes, because he's still a massive name. Anthony Joshua's still a big name. People still want to see him, but for me that loss was bad. Anyway, moving on from him, one of his old opponents, Joseph Parker. What's happening with him? What do you think's next for him? Because he seems to be on a bit of a high now, doesn't he?
I'm hearing rumours that that Parker's going to be boxing Dubois.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tough fight for Dubois, that, but I'm not saying that.
Well, I know that. I was trying to say, it's a good fight, isn't it? But by all accounts, it's a tough fight for Parker as well. So it's a great fight. I really like the fight. I think stylistically it's a good fight. Dubois will come and try and walk him down. Parker will probably use his athleticism and try and move around. And I really, really like Parker. He's such a great guy.
And good character as well.
And he's having like an Indian summer where he's really come into his own again. He's having some good wins. Yeah. So I'm over the moon for him. He's a great guy. But that's a top fight if it comes off.
Yeah, it is a good fight. I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago on one of my episodes on here. That's probably what I'd say to Daniel Dubois next. Hang about. Unless he gets the AJ rematch. I just think the AJ rematch for Dubois. I'm not just, like I say, people think I'm an AJ hater. I've been accused of being an AJ hater before by the promoter as well. Eddie Hills, the 6-0 Iceman, Eddie Hearn. He gave me some shit saying I'm an hater. I'm not. I just told the truth. I mean, we're both agreed here. We think AJ should probably retire. But his legacy is a little bit in tatters, let's be honest. But the fight with Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker gets me out of bed more than it does the rematch with AJ, because I think the writing's on the wall with AJ. But Parker can give Dubois a tough night of boxing and movement and keep out his way, and he can punch a bit, and he's fit for 12 rounds as well. That is a good fight. That's one I would definitely look forward to. But moving on from the heavyweights, not going to let you speak over that one. I'm usually talking over people. I cut you there because I want to talk about Chris Eubank Jr. and Canelo Alvarez. First of all, what do you make of Chris Eubank Jr. at 35 years old? His career's been slow burning. I feel like he don't want to fucking fight. He's had a year out the ring. He's come back the other week. There was flaws in his attack and his arsenal and his defence. And at 35 years old, you passed your best. I mean, is it ridiculous calling that Canelo Alvarez's name, or do you think he's actually got some kind of chance against someone like him?
Well, I think from Canelo's point of view, if he can get paid a hell of a lot of money to fight someone like Eubank, I think the risk reward way outweighs. You know, he's a name. Eubank's a name, but it's.
Is he a name in the boxing world though? Nah, is he?
Liam Smith.
Yeah.
Was nowhere near the Liam Smith in the rematch that he was in the first fight. You know,
no, he killed
by all
accounts,
accounts, he was injured badly, and he had a bad back, I've heard, and he was miles off of the weight. So that win flatters him, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that win for Eubank Jr. against Liam Smith. We saw what happened in the first fight, and what happened to him in the first fight doesn't happen to you if you're at the sort of level where you're going to be taking on Canelo Alvarez. You don't get no disrespect to Liam Smith, but Liam Smith was past his best in the first fight, and he fucking obliterated him, caught him, clipped him, had him all over the shop, and done him. So the Canelo fight for me, I mean, you'd tune in, wouldn't you? You wouldn't draw your curtains if it was on in your back garden. You'd watch.
Everyone wants the Canelo fight, and you know they're always calling out. It's always about the money. I'd like to see it. I'll watch it because of the intrigue of it.
Yeah.
But in terms of Eubank's never been on that type of level, anywhere near that type of level.
No.
And you know,
not at all.
I think Canelo's probably past his best now as well. In all honesty,
I was going to say that
he's not quite the fighter he was 2 or 3 years ago, but he's still got way too much in the tank for Eubank for me.
Yeah, he stepped up twice for me. He lost to Billy Joe Saunders. He lost to a past his best George Groves. I mean, I know Groves was probably a bit too big for Eubank. Eubank's tough and fit and whatever, but for me, I mean, the Canelo fight, I just don't think it's a fight. I just think Canelo's too good for him. But you're right, he is past his best. Maybe he'll have a fight of it, but I think it's all about the money. I think it's all about the bottom line. Eubank thinking I might get paid big money for this. Do you want to see Conor Benn against Chris Eubank Jr.? Is that a fight that floats your boat still?
Again, it's an intriguing fight, and it's been built around the dad's legacies. But in all honesty, because of weight divisions, it shouldn't really happen. But the intrigue of it is, can Conor Benn can punch. You know, regardless of what people think about him, and obviously we'll never know about the ins and outs of what happened before the fight fell through last time. But he can really punch for a welterweight, and the intrigue will be, can he carry that up into the heavyweight division?
Yeah.
And in all honesty, what weight is it going to be? Because can Eubank get down to underneath super middleweight now at the minute, at this stage? We all know the older you get, the harder it is to get down to the weight, and it's not safe. You know, you shouldn't be dragging yourself down. Your punch resistance gets affected. So that might even balance it out a little bit more and make it a bit more even, because the natural size is by far with Eubank.
I think that's the biggest factor, because Conor Benn's not he's not even a 160-pound fighter. So if Eubank's coming down from 168, depends how knackered he is at 160. And that's why Chris Eubank, his dad, senior, has been saying, listen, he can't get down to anything lower. But does his dad say he can do 160 anymore? Does he want him? He wants him staying at 168, doesn't he, his dad?
168, exactly. Yeah. So even if they dragged it down to like 164, you know yourself, that last 4 pounds are the ones that absolutely kill you.
Yeah.
And he's 147. Conor Benn's 147. Yeah. Obviously, getting down to 147, he's probably walking round at 157 to 160 himself anyway. So he won't make weight. He'll just get on the scales whatever he's at.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So anyway, moving on from that, mate. Last and not least, I want to ask you your opinion on Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Arabians' input and inclusion now, which is a pretty big one, let's be honest, into boxing.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? Is it good? Is it a good thing? Is it good for boxing? And what do you think? Has it got any negative impact on fighting in the UK? Do you think it's taken anything away from it? Just what do you think about the Saudi boxing?
I think time will tell. Time will tell in terms of the longevity of it.
Yeah.
I think the positives, you can't deny the positive impact it's had because of the fights what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Getting people have been asking or trying to get promoters to work together for years and years and years, and it's
Amazing, isn't it,
never
what the
been
old
possible.
Bunsen burner does?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, people once the right amount of money's offered to people, they're willing to sort of put the differences aside and work alongside each other. Now, how long that'll last, I don't know. Hopefully, it'll last for a long time because ultimately, my concern has always been that the fighters get paid what they're worth, and we see the best fights. And and I'm hoping that this goes on from strength to strength and it's better. And okay, we're going to see a lot of fights in Saudi Arabia, but if we keep pushing and people keep asking for the bigger fights over there, like the big card at Wembley, my beloved club Man United is building a new ground, and they want that to be the home of British boxing when it's built. So there's going to be big cards being brought over to here. They've done a Riyadh season one in America. So it can't just all be in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
in my opinion, because the boxing fans deserve it over here and in America.
I think that's the biggest
But
problem. A lot of it's going to end up in Saudi, isn't it? Because even after that last one.
well, I was just going to say it can't all be there, but as long as we've got our fair share of big fights and big cards over here and in America, then if we're seeing the best fighting the best, then it's got to be a good thing. Do you not agree?
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, there's a couple of fights where we wouldn't have had the fights. Probably Usyk Fury might not have happened. Let's be honest. I think Fury maybe didn't really, even though he talks so good and he gives it all the big one. I don't think
Yeah.
particularly he wanted that fight. He may have took another route, or he may have swerved it, put it back a little bit because of the money that's offered in Saudi. It was really
Of
difficult.
course, and like AJ Dubois would have never seen that because it was Matt Troom and Frank Warren, different promoters.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And that fight happened at Wembley Stadium here in Britain. So we have to be grateful for that. I'm not sure it's going to happen again. I'm not sure they're going to
I
come
just
back to Britain, but
I just think, Carl, that as long as people consistently are going, make sure there's cards over here and in America as
yeah,
well, and it just does gradually slip away so that they're all over in Saudi,
yeah.
then I think it's a good thing.
Well, allegedly the big bosses in Saudi, and it's just word around the campfire. They weren't that happy with this fight coming to Wembley to Britain, and there was a bit of backlash, wasn't there, with the Saudi national anthem and with some of the negative press they got with stopping people from the free press, people who want to have a free opinion and the freedom of speech to be exercised. When that was cancelled and stopped, it then had a big backlash for the Saudi regime, and allegedly the bosses of Saudi are like, listen, we're not going to Britain again. So if that is the case and all the big fights are
Right.
all over in Saudi, for me it's not good for boxing because everyone's going to all the top fighters are going to want to get this Saudi bunts, and if it don't happen for them, they're going to be in England. I just think, but it's going to separate it too much. But they're talking about maybe doing a division or a league, some sort of UFC style with professional boxing. This is what I'm talking about with the Saudis. Maybe they're going to change the sport totally. They've got that much money. Maybe the sport totally changes, and we won't even have an opinion. It might be better, it might be worse, but it's interesting because obviously money does strange things to people. Like Frank Warren, old brick.
A UFC style boxing
Yes, exactly.
setup
Yeah,
is something what people have been talking about now for the last 5-6 years, saying that's what we need. I'm not sure whether that's the answer to everything, but but my main priority has always been the best fighting the best, and the fighters to get paid well for it. So
yeah, yeah.
long may it continue as long as it doesn't sort of just go down one track
Yeah, exactly.
and
Maybe
one
I'm
rabbit hole.
old-fashioned, mate, but I love to see fights at the MEN in Manchester. I love to see the O2 in London packed. I've been there
Yeah.
myself, the Kessler
Well,
Arena.
we was at the Co-op Arena. It's a new arena. First
Yeah,
fight there on Saturday with Jack,
yeah, unbelievable.
and it was great. The atmosphere was
In
great.
about
I
8,000
mean,
in
I was
it.
at York Hall. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I had Hannah Robinson at York Hall, Bethnal Green, and proper old school
Yeah.
venue. I love those type of
My
fight
first
nights.
4 pro fights at the York Hall. I remember boxing as an amateur as well in the ABA semi-finals and quarter-finals. Just awesome. What a venue that is.
Yeah,
The Brian McGee fight there. I mean, I made my pro debut there, but I defended my British title against Brian McGee and all the Irish over the top
yeah.
balcony coming down on me. And You feel like you're in a bloody stadium packed, but there's only 2,000
Yeah,
people crammed in there. It's unbelievable atmosphere, proper old school.
exactly.
And it'd be a shame if they never happened anymore. But anyway, we're about done, mate. So I just want to say thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. We'll
Anytime, mate. No problem at
we'll
all.
have you on
Enjoyed
again in
it.
the future. All the best to Jack Catterall. I've mentioned it earlier. I'm a massive fan, and he's not getting the recognition he deserved. But I think now he's on the final step, if you like, to becoming a world champion. He should have been crowned before. We've talked about that against Taylor, but it didn't happen. But he's on the final step, and when he does finally get crowned world champion, I think then he'll go from level to level, and he'll raise his game, and he'll also have a massive fan base behind him. So good luck with him,
Yeah,
mate. I know you're working hard with
God
him
willing. Thank
daily
you
in
very
the
much,
gym.
mate. Appreciate it. Cheers, Carl.
He's going to chill out over Christmas, and he's going to have a good start to 2025. And hopefully 2025 will be his crowning year. But Jamie Moore, thanks for joining us, and we'll get you on again very soon, I'm sure. You take care, mate.
Top man. Cheers, Carl.
So that's it for another episode of Froch on Fighting with Jamie Moore, my old mate, my old work colleague, and my old friend. He knows boxing inside out. It really does. He's got a great resume of his own career at a certain level. Not gonna give him any shit because he never made world title honours, but he was up there, proper top fighter. And hopefully with Jack Catterall, he can get that world title next year. But yeah, this has been another episode of the Cobra, bringing it to you straight down the lens. This episode was brought to you by Cobra Casino. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you very soon.